Hey, Dustin Tibbetts here, financial advisor with Jazz Wealth Managers. How you doing today? You hanging in there? I know it's been an interesting couple days, 6, 7, 8 days now in the stock market lately. And I don't want to put all that aside for a second. We're going over everything with our customers and talking about how things are going, of course, as we're educational type financial advisors, but I'll spare you that. I actually want to talk about one of the mistakes that I see all the time. Number one mistake, by hands down, number one mistake. And it's not the investments that you choose in your retirement account. It's not that you started late or that you're not saving enough. It's that you're flying blind, man. You don't know how much to save. And so think about this real quick, and I'm going to go through some data and show some numbers with you. But think about retirement investing. It's pretty stressful, right? You have to watch the value of hard-earned money fluctuate like you're doing right now. You have to wonder if you're saving enough, right? And nobody really helps you to tell you like how much you have to save. So you're stressed about saving all this money and you don't know if it's going to be enough. And add to that, when you get to retirement, if you didn't save enough, you can't go back and do it again, right? So really knowing how much to save is so important. And I do these videos every now and then where I go through the numbers. I'm going to share some of them with you today, but this is hands down the most important thing for you here. Now, you have to make some assumptions, and this is, of course, specific to you, but at the end of the day, you need to figure out how much you need to save and then move on. I'm like the only advisor on the planet that says, figure out the number, and once you figure it out, just move on. Don't save anymore. Don't go overboard and try to save a whole bunch of money. Just move on. So let's go through this here today. I'm going to go over to the board. We're going to make some assumptions. Maybe this is kind of general. I'm just trying to see if maybe this fits some of you that are watching here. And kind of explain what you kind of want, what you want to know. And I'm going to undershoot like I do with all my customers. Every customer that joins us, I work through the numbers for them, and I sort of underestimate. I'm really going to underestimate here. So here's the assumption. We got someone that's 38 years old, right? Is that you? You close? You 40? 37? Huh? I'm 37, right? Yep. All right. We're going to say that you want to retire at 67 years old. And you got a late start. So maybe you're going to have to work a little later, or you're okay with that. We're going to assume that you live to be 87 years old, so your retirement consists of 20 years. We've got to make sure you have enough money. Now, let's say you tell me, I make $60,000 a year right now, and so this is what I want in retirement. We were going to adjust for inflation and everything, but you want $60,000 a year in retirement. At least you want to see what that comes out to be. Now, I'm going to assume that you've already saved $50,000 in a 401k or whatever it is that you've already saved up there because you're 38. You've done something along the way, right? Yeah, you saved a few dollars. So I'm going to assume $50,000. And watch where we go with this. I'm not just going to rattle a bunch of numbers out there to you, but here's what we're also going to do. We're going to assume 3% inflation on average, and we're going to adjust for it along the way like I always do. It works for a much tighter number. And then I'm going to assume an 8% return. Now, before you bash me here, this is what people get this confused. I did a video, it got like 800,000 views, and everybody gave me a hard time for this one. But I'm not saying you make 8% a year. I'm saying it's 8%, and then we're taking inflation out of it because we're going to adjust our deposits for inflation as we go. And so, in reality, I'm saying you actually net 5%. I'm not saying you make 8. I'm saying after inflation, you net 5% money, inflation-adjusted dollars, on the money that you invest, okay? So that's over the lifespan here. I didn't break it down any further than that. We're just going to say 5%, okay? So here's how this works. We've got a 38-year-old who's saving for retirement at 67. They expect to live until 87 years old. They want $60,000 a year, and the reason they chose that was because they make $60,000 a year right now, okay? So this is important. Hang with me. That's why they chose that number. If you don't know how much you need, then that by all means, you figure something else out. You figure something close to what you need. Now, what we put also in here, I forgot to put that down. Yep, I forgot to put that in there. We're going to assume that you're getting $18,000 a year from Social Security, some other type of income. That's a standard Social Security payment for someone that's working all these years. You're going to qualify for Social Security, of course. And that's standard Social Security. So $60,000 a year is what you need, right? You've got $50,000 already saved up and is growing, and we're going to just go ahead and factor it in at 5%. And you're expecting $18,000 a year in Social Security. Okay. Now, the number that this person needs to save in order to make this happen It's a little different how we do it. But in the first year, they need to save $6,247, right? In the 401k, in whatever it may be. $6,247 in the first year. Now, they're going to raise this amount by 3%, or whatever the inflation is that you want to factor in there each year. So each year, to make sure their contribution limit isn't getting stale, like if you said, I'm going to put $5,000 a year in my retirement account, well, as the years go on, the $5,000 is not really worth $5,000 anymore, so we got to adjust for inflation. It makes for a much tighter number, right? But what I really want to point out here is $6,247 to hit that goal, everything we just talked about. The person makes $60,000 a year right now. 6247 into 60,000's got to be just over 10%. I'm going to call it 10.5%. I didn't do the number there for you. So they've got to save 10.5% of their income in order to get to this particular goal, everything we laid out. How many of you save 15% of your income, right? And this is what I mean by this. You stress about saving the 15% when in reality it may be not necessary. 10.5%, that's what this person needs to save. Let's round down and call it 10% so I can do the math easier for you here. If they were saving 15%, I could say, okay, stop that. You don't have to. You've got 5 extra percent now that you could spend. That's $3,000 a year that you could spend on something else. It's $250 a month that you could spend on something else, right? You're stressed, and that's no small chunk of change, by the way, $250 a month that you were stressing to save in your retirement that you didn't have to. What financial advisor tells you to save less, right? And I mean that in all sincerity. Focus on what you have to save. Know the number, quit flying blind, and then that money that you have extra, if you happen to be saving too much, go put it towards building your wealth. Go put it towards paying off your home. Go put it towards things you want to put that money towards instead of stressing about retirement. Because when you start stressing about something, you just stop doing it, right? You're going to just forget it. I can't do 15%. I'll do 9 or 8 or whatever. Well, now you know the exact number. For that person, it's 10.5%. They don't have to stress anymore. What a weight that lifts off your shoulders, because now we can say, we got the number. Let's drill down to the investments. As an advisor working with you guys, I could say, let's drill down to the investments. The number's going in. Now let's fine tune. And even more importantly than that, let's fine tune by reducing the volatility in your investments, so when the markets kind of fall off a cliff like they just did, you don't fall with it, right? You have the lowest volatility for the best possible return. And remember, that was only at 5%, right? That was a 5% net return. In reality, that person's probably going to do a little bit better if they're 38 years old. They should be doing better if they're 38 years old. Anyways, that's all I have to share with you here today. I thank you for sticking around with me and sort of indulging me a little bit on this, but you got to know your number. You have to. Think about it. If you're doing anything else in life, you're going to save for a $10,000 trip to Italy or wherever you're going. Well, you know it's $10,000. You got, 3 years till you want to go, and that's how much you divide it over, and that's how much you got to save, right? Same with retirement. Let's just figure it out. Make sure you get there. If you need help, of course, check us out at Jazz Wealth Managers. We are financial advisors, just trying to do things a little differently and actually work with people instead of treating them like a number and all that good stuff. Enjoy the rest of your day. We will see you later on The Closing Beat, 5 o'clock Eastern, live on our YouTube channel. I appreciate you joining. See you.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.